Alright, so we're here checking out your biped model. There are a few areas that still need some work on the model. First thing that you'll want to take a look at is actually there's a muscle grouping that's kind of right here in the outer upper portion of the leg here, and it looks like you've placed it a little further back, so just on the side of the thigh. So that actually needs to be moved to this area right here. So I'll kind of show you what I mean by that, and we'll go about fixing it. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this that we have here, okay? So, oh, and just so you know, again, I'm just going to be working on one side of the model. Leaving the other side alone because, you know, we can just work on one side, delete the other side, and then mirror this over. Alright? So we don't have to do everything twice. So we'll get rid of this muscle group that we've created here, and we'll actually move it forward to this area. Alright? I'm just going to go ahead and I'm on my rendering menu. So make sure when you're doing this, you come over here to your little menus. If you're not already there, and you probably are, you might want to grab this drop-down menu and make sure you're in polygons. That will give you all your polygon menus up here. So I'm going to go to Edit Mesh. I'm going to use my Merge Vertex tool to effectively get rid of this muscle grouping that I don't want. Be careful when you're doing this. Make sure you're grabbing the right verts, okay? So what I've done effectively is just kind of erased that muscle group that I had there. It's as if it was never there, okay? Make sure that you hit Q once you are done using your Merge Vertex tool. Alright, Q is for quit. And, you know, one important thing to take note of is the edge flow here on the leg. Now that we're looking at the leg, really, we've got this nice smooth curve for the thigh, alright? And the next line in is curving up, and then it pretty severely just juts inwards and comes straight up, so this is not really following with our natural curve of the body, okay? So we want to make sure and grab those, move those out so that they do flow naturally. And of course, anytime I move anything, I want to look at it from other angles as well and make sure that it's also following natural curves in other angles. So, you know, it's always a good idea to kind of spin around an area that you're dealing with and make sure it looks alright from every angle, okay? This as well could probably be moved just a little bit. Just keeping those smooth curves going. So let's go ahead and create, or recreate rather, our muscle group, alright, where we actually want it to be. It's going to be these 6 faces right here, okay, are going to be extruded to create this muscle group that we have in the front outer side of our legs, alright? So just grab those 6 faces, come up to Edit Mesh, make sure you have Keep Faces Together checked, and you're going to hit Extrude. And then once I have extruded that, I'm just going to use my scale tool to bring this in a little bit. Now when I do that, it's also going to bring it inwards in all directions, so it's going to look a little funny at first. But I can then just use my Move tool to kind of move that around. And at that point, it's really time to grab individual vertices and really just move them where I want them to go, okay? So I'm actually going to round out this shape quite a bit, okay? And again, you know, make sure you're looking at this from many different angles so that you're really getting the best possible shape, no matter which direction you're looking at it from, okay? You don't want to get any instances of things just kind of jutting out. You just want to keep those smooth curves. Now, you know, this guy's wearing pants, so it's not always going to necessarily be apparent where these muscle groupings are. So you can leave them a little bit understated, alright? But we do want to place them just so that you can get an idea and a sense of where these muscles lie on the body, alright? And if you are ever tasked with working on a biped subject, that you are at least aware of where these muscle groupings are and a way to kind of tackle them, okay? So really for us, the placing the muscles is more of an exercise in muscle anatomy. Alright, so I'm going to leave it something like that. Double checking from many different angles. Okay, so right here I have some kind of wobbly lines. I may move some of these things in and around and wherever, just to try to smooth things out, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all the faces on this side, so we don't really have to deal with them, because one of the reasons anyways that I'm doing this is that we have kind of some geometry pinching going on over on this side, alright? And we don't have it quite as bad happening over on the other side here, alright? We also have lost some of the geometry in the center here, okay? And I'm upside down now. That actually continues all the way around. We've also lost some geometry here, some definition there. Okay, so that likely happened when we did our mirror geometry. That's probably when things started to merge together unexpectedly, alright? So be aware of that and be careful of that, because if you're not careful with it when you do your geometry mirror and deal with the merge threshold carefully, you'll get this same result the next time you do it as well. So we'll take a closer look at that. First thing I'm going to do though, as I said, is just go ahead and delete all the faces on one side. I'm going to do something about like that. I'm not going to go too far. Just want to make sure I don't accidentally grab any of the faces on this side. Alright, I'm just going to delete all those guys that I grabbed. I'll still have some leftovers. I'll just carefully zoom in a little bit and grab those as well. Alright. Especially in areas like this, it can get a little difficult to make sure you're only grabbing things on one side. Okay, so now we have just one side, which is good. One thing I think probably be good to take a look at is this bicep muscle is looking a little sharp since we added the definition to it here. So I would pull these out just a little bit to help round this out a little more. I'd pull this out as well, because it's just a little bit too sharp at the moment. Alright, so might bring that in just a little bit, bring those out. You know, we still obviously want the shape to be there, but we don't want it to be quite so stark. Alright. This all looks fine. One thing up at the top here, these are really getting quite close to one another, especially right here in this area. You know, you've got this great big polygon right here, and next to it is this little tiny sliver one, and another little tiny sliver one. So you've got a lot of variation in the size of your polygons here. So I really would move these out quite a bit, alright, and away from one another to kind of keep the polygons roughly the same size and shape. It's alright if they vary a little bit, but you don't want any really drastic shape changes there. So I'm just going to pull these out just a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy with it. And then, of course, anytime you move something in one direction, it's very important, as usual, to look at it in other directions as well and make sure that you are readjusting things to maintain that nice edge flow. So as you can see, some of these areas got a little messy when I did that. And you actually may want to look at these things in your orthographic view as well. Okay, so check them from different directions, see how they're looking. You can even use the scale tool to bring vertices back in line with one another if you want. And sometimes it can help to move things around this way so that you can kind of clearly see the curves that are involved. So now I've got this nice smooth curve on the top here. And again, we'll want to look at it also from the side. Make sure things still look alright from the side. That we don't have any sudden dips or changes in shape, unless we want them to be there, of course. Okay. And it's just a process of going through and looking at a lot of different areas from a lot of different angles and just making really small adjustments to help improve that shape, okay? Okay, so I'm going to leave that alone for now. Again, just kind of come up to this top area here and kind of pull those really tight pinching polygons apart. You're going to want to do a similar thing in the back here as well. You can leave this fairly close in. I would pull this very topmost one out just a little bit though, and then the one beneath it, because they're getting really super thin right here. But this area is probably about right for the spine, okay? So that's alright, because we're using it to define the spine shape a little better. But this, you know, this next guy over, I might move over quite a bit, okay, to kind of make these polygons roughly the same size on one side and the other, okay? Now, along the center line, in quite a few places here, we've actually lost some of our geometry, alright? Or it's become hidden or tucked away, so that's a bit of a problem. So let's take a closer look and see what's missing and what has happened. You know, it's gotten a little tangled up. So this, first of all, let's move this up quite a bit, alright? This should actually be kind of more like right about here, alright? This is all just kind of gotten mishmashed together in this very small area down at the bottom here, okay? So we're going to pull that out a bit. Alright, so it looks like we still have this geometry here. At first it was kind of uncertain whether these were all just merging into one solid vertex, which they should not be, or if they were actually still separate, and they are still separate. So that's actually good. We can just pull that vertex out. Alright. Okay, and this guy right here is one solid vertex. Alright, so we also have this on the inside here. And if we pull on that a little bit, we get this kind of shape. Okay, it's sort of a triangle. Two triangles, really, that we've got going on right there. Alright. And let's try this as well. It's along our center line. So anything that's kind of along that center line there, just tug it a little bit. See if it's moving and where it's going, if it is. Okay, so we're going to reroute this geometry a little bit because it's kind of gotten away from us. For example, in this area, we should have an area that defines the glutes here. And we don't. We just kind of have this one solid area. You can see part of where it was. If you zoom in closely, we can kind of move this around. You can see this triangle here was actually part of that area, okay? But probably, most likely when we did the mirror, all of those definition faces actually got merged together, okay? So they're gone now, is the long and short of it, and we have to recreate them. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'm going to actually just go ahead and delete this face for now. I'm going to get rid of that guy. There's actually two on top of one another there. So get rid of both of them. Make sure that you get rid of both of them, because if you don't, you're going to have a face on top of a face, and it's not going to be pretty. And then, you know, let's just pull some things out here. I'm going to grab these edges where I want this definition to be. Alright, let's go going to be all of these, all the way up until right here. Okay. Make sure you just leave this top one alone for now. Actually, you know what? We'll go ahead and grab that too. We'll deal with that in a moment though, because it's a little special. Let's just go to Edit Mesh, Extrude, and I'm just gonna move these outwards a little bit. Okay, so we have something to work with now at least. And you know, I'm just gonna grab some of these vertices and just pull them in, like so, just to help define that shape. All right. Watch out for this as well. You know, this is just a shaping issue right here. You know, it looks fine from some angles, but if you look at it from this angle, for example, you can see it's quite jagged there. So make sure you pull that down. All right. I would also say pull this up, because again, it's just a case of having these really, really big faces next to these really, really tiny ones. So make sure you're keeping your spacing pretty consistent. Alright, so we're going to have something like that. Now, you know, I'm also going to go ahead and delete these guys right here. Alright, because at the moment they have become these triangle shapes, alright, where they've kind of merged together at the ends here. And we don't want the triangles, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of those. We're going to make some new faces there. Those look like they were also faces on top of faces, so, you know, if you see them twice after you've already deleted them, just be aware of that. Okay, I'm going to come to these ones as well. I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, Extrude. I'm going to pull those out. Okay. Now, what I want to do here is actually connect these extrusions that I've done together. So I'm going to go to Vertex Mode, I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, Merge Vertex Tool, and I'm going to make sure that I take the end of this first extrusion that I've done and connect it to the end of this second extrusion right here. Okay, connect those two little corners. So now this is one solid piece going all the way around up to the front here. All right. Now, the geometry on the front here has actually also gotten a little bit off track. So, for example, this face right here is actually a triangle, okay? Which we want to avoid. We do not like triangles. So let's go ahead and alleviate that. I'm actually going to grab this edge right here, and I'm going to bring it out with an extrusion. I'm just going to pull it out right about to there. It's probably fine. Once I do that, I want to make sure that I actually do connect this new extrusion that I've made with this old one that I have, okay, so I don't accidentally leave it as an open gap here. Okay, so I'm just going to go to Edit Mesh, Merge Vertex Tool, and just sew those two together. So it's one solid piece now. Alright. And I'm going to do one more extrusion. I'm going to grab this top edge of this extrusion that I've just done. And I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, Extrude. Pull it up a little bit. And, you know, what we're going to do here is that we're actually going to change this, we're going to change this triangle shape to a square, alright, by using this new polygon that we've created, okay? Kind of an interesting way. So, let's go ahead and use our Merge Vertex tool again, our old friend, the Merge Vertex tool. And I'm actually going to bring this corner right up to here. I'm also going to bring this other top corner up here. Okay, so effectively I've created another triangle. So I've got these two triangles, and hopefully you've kind of figured out by now that the two triangles, when put together, make a square. So we can actually just grab this edge that is separating our two triangles, all right? And we can go to Edit Mesh and hit our Delete Edge Vertex tool to get rid of that edge. What we've done is kind of reworked the flow of this area so that rather than traveling down this way, the edge here traveling down this way and into the lake, we've now kind of diverted it to kind of come along this new edge that we've got coming along the center here, okay? So that takes care of that. I would say go ahead and move this quite a bit, all right? Because right now it's coming, very far and creating some really sharp, odd angles. So pull this thigh area in really quite a lot. And you can see when you look at it from the side here as well, how it's swooping back rather dramatically. All right, so you may want to bring that in as well. Okay, you don't want anything that looks super drastic in change of edge flow there. Okay, so make sure you deal with that area, and once you have dealt with that particular vertex, you'll also want to deal with those that are connected to it. So, once you move one thing back so far, you'll probably want to move other things that are nearby as well, okay? And so really it's going to be dealing with this entire area. We're going to be moving it back quite a bit. We'll be moving things in, around, all over the place. I'm going to grab those and pull them over. Now, because we pulled this geometry out, everything was actually already on this center line, okay? And we pulled this out further, so it's actually going past the center line right now. So we effectively want to make this our new center line, okay? So make sure that you check this out from this view, okay? And you'll want to pull things over to create this new center line. I'm going to go into X-ray mode here so I can see a little better what I'm doing. I'm going to pull things over so that, again, I can start to create my new center line. Before I start plopping things onto the center line, though, I'm going to have to make sure that I am moving my current center line over to make room for our new center line, okay? Just one more thing quickly that I'm going to do before I get to work on the center line is, so we're going to deal with this area right here, and I'm actually going to make a triangle that we're going to change later, okay? So I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, Merge Vertex tool, and I'm just going to grab that outer edge there. I'll show you again. Grab this outer edge there and just pull it in. I made a triangle. Don't like triangles, but again, we're gonna fix it later once we've done our mirroring, okay? So again, I'm just kind of moving some things over and away from the center line that were part of the center line previously so that I can make room for my new center line. This can go on the center line. This will be on the center line. And once you've moved everything out of the way, you can actually just grab everything along here and pull it in, just using the scale tool. Okay, so that's all sort of lined up with one another, and then just pull it back onto this center line. Make sure, again, that before you do that, you have moved your old center line out of the way. Okay, otherwise you're going to get faces, sitting on top of faces on that center line area. Alright, so we kind of got our geometry in place. Now it's really just to do with shaping. So obviously in this area right here we have a lot of shaping issues. We've got this really pointy area right here. So we'll have to pull that in quite a lot to round out this shape. Alright. We can pull this in as well. And again, it's just going to be a matter of looking at things from multiple angles, okay? Alright, so I've come up with something here. It feels pretty okay. And we know we've still got everything along our center line there. I'm going to change these faces to the correct material, these new faces that I've made. I'm just going to select all of the faces, right click and hold, I'll go to assign existing material, and I'm going to give them the pants material. Alright, so now they're blending in with the rest of the pants there. So that's all good, looking fine. Now we're going to change our edge flow just a little more here. We were talking about dealing with this triangle here. So actually what I'm going to do is just grab this edge that's coming over this way, okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it. So we're going to go to Edit Mesh, delete Edge Vertex. Now rather than this little triangle here, we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So this is now a square, okay? So that's good. Our edge flow is having some problems down here, so we're actually going to reroute this a little bit. You can kind of see where this polygon, for example, is sort of folding over on top of itself. It's trying very hard to stretch in some unusual ways. So we're going to change this a little bit in this area. I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, and for now I'm going to use my Merge Vertex tool. And you can kind of see the idea here where we've got this sort of squarish shape, and at the corners that's coming off and meeting the corners of the squarish shape around it, except for right here. Okay, so we should have something coming over to this corner. Not happening for us, so let's make it that way. We can just use that Merge Vertex tool to pull that over. Alright. And then I'm also going to reroute the geometry in this area as well. Okay, I'm going to quit my Merge Vertex tool. I'm going to use my Interactive Split tool. And I'm bringing this corner right here. And I'm just going to bring it across over to the end. hit enter. Okay, so I've done a bunch of things there now. One thing I want to do for sure is get rid of this triangle that we've got here. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the top triangle, which is to just grab this edge here and come to Edit Mesh, delete Edge Vertex. It's now square. So we're happy with that. I love squares. Now we've still got kind of a mess going on right here. Basically, we no longer want this line coming up this way. We want it to actually route through here, okay? So we can grab this, both of those, and again, just use Edit Mesh, delete Edge Vertex. And now we have this coming up and around over this way, rather than trying to stretch in this direction, okay? So it's a little bit more natural for the flow of this area. You may even want to come in here and just pull this in a bit to help alleviate the stress on these polygons, okay? And then once you've kind of rerouted everything, you know, you can move things around again as you see fit. Again, keeping in mind having smooth curves and alleviating stress on your geometry, okay? Let me pull that back quite a bit. Alright, so in the end you should have something like that. Again, check your center line, because while you've been doing all of those kinds of things, you may have found some things shifting around. Looks like my center line is still intact. So, once you're sure your center line is still good, you're ready to mirror things over again at this point, okay? So we've got everything we want here, and you know, we're sure that all our shaping is good, we're happy with everything, we've checked out every spot on this guy, and it's all good, so we're ready for the other half. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to go to Object Mode, grab this guy, and I'm going to come to Mesh, Mirror Geometry. I'm going to click this little box on the side to make sure that I have the correct options selected. Now, when I'm choosing the mirror direction, basically, you know I want the other half of this guy to be over here on this side. So I want to flip it from this side to this side, okay? So I'm going in this direction here, okay? If I drew a little arrow, it would be going off to the left. If I take a look at this little guide right here, which is telling me my positive X, Y, and Z directions, basically this, where this little red indicator is showing me anything that's in this direction is your positive X direction, okay? So that means going the opposite way is going to be my negative X direction. In this case, we do want to go that opposite direction. So it's going to be negative X. Make sure you have negative X selected in your mirror direction. You also want to make sure you have merge with the original checked. You can just also make sure you've got merge vertices selected there. Once you have all of that, go ahead and hit mirror. Now, when I hit mirror, a lot of stuff is going to cinch together where things were close to one another, okay? So I'm getting a lot of that part right here. And other unusual things happening, okay? So we can control that using our channel box / layer editor over here, okay? So if we take a look at our channel box, as soon as we perform that mirror, we get this input here that's going to say polymirror 1. And this is just a history of this mirror that you've done, but it's kind of an interactive history because we can actually change some of these values here retroactively, okay? So, you know, even if we start clicking other stuff, doing other things, this is going to remain in our history for a little while, and we're still going to be able to change things about it, but I don't recommend doing other stuff and trying to change it later because you could encounter problems. So let's just go ahead and do it right now. Our main concern here is with this merge threshold value, okay? So it's at 0.1 right now. Basically, this is controlling how things merge along the center line. It's saying how close does something have to be to something else for me to go ahead and merge it together and sew it together when we're sewing these two halves together. So we're going to make it a smaller number, meaning it's going to be only merging things that are really quite close to one another. Now, in this example, you know, I never actually came back here and dealt with this spine line. You know, I kind of left that up to you. So, you know, 0.01 didn't quite do the trick for me there, alright? But you'll, of course, want to space things out a little better. But if you do encounter areas that are still pinching, you can now change this to an even smaller number if you like. As small as you need to get things to stop pinching, alright? Once you are sure there's no pinching along the center line, and also you have to make sure that nothing is got gaps in it either. So, for example, when I made that super small, I now have a gap in the back here. That's just an issue of probably making sure my center line is a little straighter. Make sure that you adjust this to a value. Check your center line very closely. Make sure that everything that you want to be sewn together is sewn together, and everything that you don't want sewn together is not sewn together. Okay? After that, you should have this one solid piece, and you'll be good to go. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that we went over today. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and happy modeling!